There is a force inside of you that nobody else can touch, a force that grows stronger when you decide to rise above the noise of someone else's opinions or actions. Too often, we believe that the best response to being ignored or dismissed is silence, retreat, or even obsession. We think that pulling away quietly, staying distant, or pretending not to care is what will hit harder. But the truth is, nothing ever hits harder than seeing someone elevate themselves beyond expectations, beyond circumstances, and beyond the drama of someone else's choices. Self-elevation is not just about ignoring someone or creating distance. It is about consciously choosing to lift your life, your mind, your spirit, and your results to a level where no one can define your value except you. Imagine a fire that refuses to be extinguished, a light that grows brighter with every obstacle, a presence that becomes impossible to ignore, not because it seeks attention, but because it radiates strength, confidence, and unstoppable momentum. That is what self-elevation feels like, and it is far more impactful than any no-contact strategy, than any silent treatment, or any attempt to make someone miss you. It is not about their reaction, it is about your growth. It is about deciding, right now, that you will no longer shrink to fit someone else's expectations or validate your worth through their choices. Instead, you will rise unapologetically in every area of your life, and you will allow the energy of that elevation to ripple through every interaction, every moment, and every encounter. Self-elevation starts with awareness. It begins when you recognize that your time, energy, and attention are your most valuable assets, and that giving them to the wrong circumstances or people only drains you. When you focus on elevating yourself, you stop being reactive and start being intentional. Every decision, every action, every thought becomes a step toward your own higher version. You start waking up earlier not just to pass time but to conquer your goals. You start prioritizing your health, your learning, and your growth in ways that make your life richer and your presence more magnetic. You begin to understand that the energy you emit in your progress speaks louder than words, and that the way you move through life with purpose and resilience is far more compelling than any tactic designed to make someone notice you. This kind of elevation is not superficial. It is not about showing off or proving anything to anyone. It is deep, it is consistent, and it is rooted in self-respect. When you elevate yourself, you carry an inner peace and confidence that cannot be shaken by petty drama, rejection, or disappointment. You create a life where your happiness, your growth, and your achievements do not depend on validation from someone who cannot see your worth. And in doing so, you naturally create an undeniable magnetism. People notice it. Even the person who underestimated you will feel it. They will notice that your energy is higher, your life is fuller, and your presence is powerful. Self-elevation also requires courage. It asks you to step into discomfort, to leave behind habits or patterns that no longer serve you, and to embrace a journey of consistent improvement. It is not always easy because growth demands persistence and resilience. There will be moments of doubt, moments when you question whether you are making progress or whether anyone even cares. But the truth is, self-elevation is not about making them care. It is about making yourself unstoppable, about walking into a version of yourself that is unbothered, unshakable, and undeniably radiant. When you embrace the power of self-elevation, you redefine your life on your own terms. You set standards for how you are treated, the quality of your relationships, and the energy you allow into your space. You begin to see that the most effective response to anyone who doubts, dismisses, or undervalues you is not silence. It is progress, excellence, and relentless growth. Every step you take toward your dreams, every new skill you master, every area of your life you elevate becomes a statement that words or tactics cannot replicate. Self-elevation transforms your mindset, your habits, and your identity. It teaches you that your worth is inherent, that your potential is limitless, and that the ultimate power lies not in making someone miss you, but in making yourself unstoppable. The more you rise, the more impossible it becomes for anyone to ignore the energy you carry. And when you live in this constant state of elevation, you will discover that the effect on others is inevitable, because nothing and no one hits harder than someone who has chosen themselves and is thriving at a level they never thought possible. The truth about life, relationships, and success is that silence, absence, or games can only create temporary impressions, but self-elevation leaves a permanent mark. It is the quiet storm that grows louder with every accomplishment, every milestone, every moment of progress. It is the transformation that speaks for itself, the energy that can be felt even without words, and the presence that commands attention not out of need but out of sheer force of being. Choosing self-elevation is choosing to live beyond limits, beyond expectations, and beyond the need for validation. It is choosing to rise relentlessly, unapologetically, And with a power that no one can ever take from you, redefining your value is one of the most powerful shifts you can make in your life. And yet it is one of the most overlooked. Too often, we measure our worth by how others respond to us, how much attention we receive, or how desperately someone seems to need us. We fall into the trap of proving ourselves, of chasing validation, or of bending ourselves into someone else's expectations just to be seen, loved, or accepted. But real power comes when you flip the script entirely. Real impact happens when you stop defining your value through anyone else's lens and begin to live fully aware of your own worth. When you truly understand what you bring to the table, when you honor your time, your energy, and your standards, the world starts to respond differently. You stop begging for recognition because your presence commands respect. You stop trying to impress because your life itself is impressive. Redefining your value is about clarity about who you are, what you deserve, and what you will no longer settle for. It begins with deep introspection, a willingness to look in the mirror and face yourself without excuses or compromises. Ask yourself, am I living according to my own principles or someone else's expectations? Am I seeking validation from people who cannot see my worth? Or am I creating a life that reflects my highest self? This is the foundation for shifting from a reactive, needy energy to a magnetic, confident energy. When you start valuing yourself properly, your choices, your boundaries, and your interactions all transform. You stop giving too much to those who will not appreciate it. And you start reserving your energy for situations and people who honor and match your worth. Redefining your value also means understanding that absence, distance, or playing it cool is never as impactful as the energy you radiate when you live fully in your worth. You do not need to withdraw to make someone realize your importance. The way you carry yourself, the way you engage with life, the standards you hold, these communicate your value more clearly than any tactic. When your life is thriving, your energy is elevated and your presence is confident. Others cannot help but notice. They may have dismissed you before, underestimated you, or taken your attention for granted, but your transformation forces a recognition that is unavoidable. And it does not come from games or manipulation. It comes from authenticity, from owning your power, and from living in alignment with your own standards. A critical part of redefining your value is learning to say no without guilt. Boundaries are not just rules, they are declarations of self-respect. When you honor your time, energy, and emotions, you demonstrate that you will not be treated as optional. You become someone whose attention is earned, someone whose presence matters, because it is not given freely to those who do not respect it. This is the energy that hits harder than any no-contact strategy or silent treatment. It is the quiet but powerful message that your life has meaning, your attention is precious, and your standards are non-negotiable. Redefining your value also requires you to invest in yourself continuously. Growth, knowledge, skill, and health are all expressions of your worth. When you prioritize your personal development, you naturally elevate your standards, your confidence, and your presence. You start attracting opportunities and people that align with your level, and the rest simply fall away. This is not about ego or arrogance. It is about clarity, self-respect, and the undeniable energy of someone who knows they deserve more than mediocrity or disrespect. The stronger you become internally, the more magnetic you are externally. It is essential to understand that redefining your value is a journey, not a moment. It requires consistency, discipline, and self-awareness. It is about recognizing your achievements, honoring your progress, and refusing to allow anyone else to dictate your self-worth. You stop measuring yourself against others. Stop seeking approval and start living in a state of empowered authenticity. Every choice you make, every action you take, every interaction you engage in becomes a reflection of your self-defined value. This transformation also shifts your relationships and interactions dramatically. When you value yourself, you attract those who value you. You no longer tolerate disrespect, manipulation, or neglect because you have redefined what you are willing to accept. Others begin to treat you differently because you treat yourself differently first. You become the standard, not the exception, and that energy resonates in every room you enter, in every conversation you have, and in every decision you make. Redefining your value is the ultimate form of empowerment. It is the recognition that you are not a product of others' opinions, attentions, or affections. You are not defined by who notices you or who ignores you. You are defined by your choices, your standards, your actions, and the life you create for yourself. The more clearly you understand and live in this truth, the more your energy shifts, the more magnetic you become, and the more undeniable it is that your worth cannot be overlooked, underestimated, or ignored. There is a power in joy that cannot be measured, a force so magnetic that it shifts the energy around you, and leaves an imprint on everyone who crosses your path. Unapologetic joy is the kind of happiness that is not dependent on someone else's approval, affection, or attention. It is a state of being that rises from within, a celebration of your own existence, accomplishments, and resilience. Too often, people try to hide their happiness, suppress their smiles, or dim their light because they fear it will provoke envy, resentment, or disapproval. But true impact, the kind that shakes others to their core, comes from joy that refuses to apologize, from a life lived fully in delight, passion, and purpose regardless of what anyone else thinks or does. Joy is not just an emotion, it is a declaration of self-sovereignty. When you experience and express genuine happiness, you are telling the world that no circumstance, no rejection, no disappointment can diminish your light. You are demonstrating that your life is valuable, that your spirit is resilient, and that your energy is uncontainable. This kind of presence is far more powerful than silence, withdrawal, or any strategy meant to create longing or regret in someone else. People are drawn to joy because it is rare, because it is authentic, and because it radiates strength. When you walk through life with unapologetic joy, it is impossible for others to ignore it and impossible for them not to feel the impact of your elevated energy. Unapologetic joy begins with self-acceptance. It requires the courage to embrace who you are, to celebrate your successes, and to forgive yourself for your mistakes. When you allow yourself to fully experience happiness without restraint, you are signaling that your value and your fulfillment do not depend on anyone else. You are living proof that your energy is not for bargaining, your spirit is not for questioning, and your happiness is not negotiable. This inner freedom is contagious. People feel it, they respond to it, and those who once tried to control or undermine you begin to realize that you have shifted into a space they cannot influence. Living in unapologetic joy also means prioritizing experiences, connections, and moments that elevate your spirit. It is about intentionally choosing environments, people, and activities that nurture your growth, inspire your creativity, and amplify your energy. This is not about ignoring reality or pretending life is perfect. It is about refusing to let negativity, rejection, or lack of attention dictate the quality of your inner world. When you cultivate joy intentionally, you create a presence that is impossible to ignore, a vibration that commands attention, and a life that communicates confidence, freedom, and self-respect louder than words ever could. Another vital aspect of unapologetic joy is authenticity. True joy is never performative, it cannot be faked or forced. It arises naturally from a life aligned with your values, passions, and purpose. When you are unapologetically joyful, every smile, every laugh, every moment of celebration is genuine. It carries a weight, a presence, and a resonance that speaks directly to the subconscious of those around you. Others may have tried to manipulate your emotions, dismiss your worth, or control your energy. But joy that is self-generated and authentic cannot be contained, controlled, or diminished. It becomes a silent yet powerful message that your life, your spirit, and your energy are yours alone to steward. Unapologetic joy also transforms the way others perceive your worth. When you live in happiness that is self-sourced, people are forced to confront the reality that your energy is not theirs to manipulate, that your value is inherent, and that your attention is not something to be earned through games or manipulation. The laughter, the light, and the peace you radiate create a magnetic field that draws respect, admiration, and recognition without you having to demand it. This energy is more compelling and more effective than any calculated withdrawal or silent treatment because it communicates power through presence rather than through absence. Joy is inherently rebellious because it defies expectations. It refuses to let the behavior of others dictate the quality of your day, your mood, or your life. When you embrace unapologetic joy, you are not only transforming yourself, but you are also shifting the energy in every environment you inhabit. People who doubted you, ignored you, or tried to diminish you begin to feel the weight of your presence in ways that words cannot capture. Your happiness becomes a standard, a benchmark, and an undeniable force that compels acknowledgement. Living in unapologetic joy requires courage, consistency, and intentionality. It is about creating a life where your emotional well-being is a priority, where your light is not dimmed for the comfort of others, and where your presence carries an energy of freedom and confidence. The more you cultivate joy that is unapologetic and self-sustaining, the more you naturally elevate every interaction, every relationship, and every space you occupy. This kind of joy is magnetic, transformative, and undeniably powerful, because when you shine from within, the world cannot help but notice. Magnetic independence is a state of being that is both rare and irresistible. It is the kind of presence that commands attention, not through demand or manipulation, but simply because it is complete, whole, and unapologetically self-sufficient. True independence is not isolation. It is not about withdrawing from life from others. It is about cultivating a sense of wholeness that is rooted in self-awareness, self-respect, and unwavering confidence. When you embody magnetic independence, you no longer rely on someone else to validate your worth, dictate your emotions, or define your happiness. Your energy becomes a force that draws people in naturally because it radiates freedom, stability, and strength. At the core of magnetic independence is the understanding that your life belongs to you. Your time, your attention, and your choices are your own, and they should be spent on what elevates you, challenges you, and brings meaning to your existence. This clarity creates a magnetic pull because it communicates, without words, that you are complete on your own terms. People notice when someone lives in such alignment. They see the way your decisions reflect your values, the way your energy is protected, and the way your presence is steady and unshakable. Magnetic independence is attractive because it is authentic. It is not performed for anyone's approval or desire. It is a living testament to the power of self-sufficiency. Independence requires boundaries, and boundaries are the backbone of this magnetic energy. When you understand what you will accept and what you will not, when you know how much of yourself you are willing to give, you signal to the world that you are not a resource to be exploited. Boundaries do not make you cold or distant. They make you empowered, respected, and intentional. People are drawn to those who know their limits, who honor their time, and who operate from a place of self-assuredness. Magnetic independence is born in this balance of openness and self-protection. It is the art of being fully available to life and relationships while never losing yourself in the process. Self-reliance is another critical element of magnetic independence. When you can solve your own problems, manage your own emotions, and create your own happiness, you release others from the unrealistic expectation of carrying your energy or validating your worth. This self-sufficiency is magnetic because it is rare. Too many people look for validation, attention, or emotional support to fill gaps in their lives, but someone who is truly independent does not need to be propped up. They're already whole, and this wholeness, this completeness, radiates a quiet but undeniable power that attracts the right people, opportunities, and circumstances naturally. Magnetic independence also demands emotional resilience. It is about being anchored in yourself even when the world is chaotic, uncertain, or dismissive. Independent individuals do not crumble under rejection, criticism, or neglect because their value is not determined by external forces. Instead, they operate from a foundation of internal certainty, knowing that their worth, their purpose, and their energy are non-negotiable. This resilience is deeply attractive because it signals strength, stability, and reliability. People are instinctively drawn to energy that is steady, secure, and unshakable, and magnetic independence embodies all of these qualities. Living with magnetic independence requires constant growth. It is not a state that can be achieved once and forgotten. It is a practice of continuously refining your skills, knowledge, habits, and mindset. When you invest in yourself consistently, you elevate your standards, your confidence, and your presence. This ongoing evolution makes you even more magnetic because it demonstrates that you are not static. You are constantly expanding, improving, and becoming more aligned with your highest potential. Those around you are compelled to take notice, not because you demand it, but because your energy speaks volumes about the life you are creating. Independence also transforms relationships. When you are whole on your own, you enter connections from a place of abundance rather than need. You do not attach, cling, or compromise your integrity for validation. Instead, you bring a balanced, confident, and empowered presence that enhances the dynamic, creating relationships that are healthier, more respectful, and mutually fulfilling. Magnetic independence naturally filters out those who cannot meet your energy or align with your standards, leaving space only for the people who truly value and respect you. Magnetic independence is ultimately a reflection of inner freedom. It is the ability to live your life according to your own terms, pursue your goals relentlessly, and remain unwaveringly committed to your values and vision. This freedom is not loud or boastful. It is quiet, steady, and undeniable. It is the energy that makes people notice without you ever trying, the presence that commands respect without demand, and the aura that attracts opportunities, relationships, and recognition naturally. It is a power that goes beyond strategy or manipulation, a force that is inherent, authentic, and unstoppable. Purpose is a light that cannot be dimmed, a force that drives you forward when everything else seems uncertain, and a magnet that pulls the right people, opportunities, and energy toward you. When you live with purpose, your life vibrates with meaning, intensity, and direction, and that vibration is impossible to ignore. The glow of purpose is not just about achieving goals or completing tasks. It is about aligning every action, every decision, and every moment with a higher vision for yourself. It is the clarity of knowing why you exist, what you stand for, and what you are relentlessly working toward. And it creates a presence that is magnetic, undeniable, and far more impactful than any tactic designed to gain attention or manipulate emotions. Purpose transforms the way you carry yourself in the world. When your energy is grounded in a meaningful vision, it radiates confidence, focus, and intensity. Others sense it instinctively. They feel the force of someone moving with intent and clarity. This glow is far more effective than any strategy of withdrawal, silence, or games, because it communicates your value through action, consistency, and presence rather than through manipulation or absence. Living with purpose ensures that your energy is not wasted on chasing validation or reacting to the choices of others. Instead, you invest your attention and effort into what truly matters, creating momentum that elevates your life and impacts everyone around you. The glow of purpose also redefines your priorities. When you are clear about your mission, you no longer have time to dwell on distractions, drama, or people who cannot match your energy. You start to focus on growth, achievement, and experiences that align with your highest self. This clarity in action creates an aura of authority and magnetic appeal. People notice someone who is deeply invested in their own journey because it signals commitment, strength, and self-respect. You no longer need to force attention or prove yourself. Your life, your progress, and your dedication to your vision speak volumes. Living with purpose requires discipline and resilience. It is not a casual pursuit or a fleeting feeling. It is a commitment to showing up consistently, regardless of the obstacles, doubts, or setbacks. Purpose creates a rhythm to your life, a structured energy that shapes your habits, decisions, and interactions. When you embrace this glow, you are not swayed by temporary disappointments or the opinions of others. Your focus remains on the long-term vision, the impact you want to make, and the person you are becoming. This consistency and dedication radiate an energy that is compelling, inspiring, and impossible for anyone to ignore. Purpose also elevates your self-worth and confidence. When you know what you are working toward, why it matters, and how it aligns with your values, you stop seeking validation from external sources. Your energy becomes self-sufficient and magnetic. You carry yourself differently, speak with intention, and make decisions from a place of power rather than fear. People naturally respect and are drawn to those whose actions are guided by vision rather than whim. The glow of purpose communicates that you are someone who matters, someone whose life has meaning, and someone whose presence is a force to be reckoned with. Another aspect of the glow of purpose is its ability to inspire others. When you live fully in your mission, others cannot help but be affected by your energy. Your focus, commitment, and clarity create a ripple effect that motivates people to elevate themselves. This is a subtle yet powerful influence because it comes from authenticity rather than performance. The energy of someone who is purpose-driven is magnetic because it embodies realness, determination, and a vision that is bigger than any fleeting moment of doubt or distraction. People are drawn to visionaries, to those who illuminate their own path with light so bright that it cannot be ignored. The glow of purpose also protects your energy. When you have a clear vision, it becomes easier to set boundaries, prioritize what matters, and refuse engagement in situations that do not serve your growth or mission. Purpose creates focus, and focus creates resilience. You become unshakable because your energy is aligned with something greater than fleeting emotions, manipulations, or distractions. This alignment not only strengthens your own trajectory, but also communicates a quiet, undeniable power that others sense immediately. Finally, the glow of purpose is transformative because it is sustainable. Unlike tactics designed to create temporary reactions, your purpose-driven energy grows stronger over time. Every step you take toward your vision, every milestone you achieve, every challenge you overcome fuels the intensity of your glow. It becomes part of your identity, part of the way you move through the world, and part of the magnetic presence that shapes the way people perceive you. Living with purpose ensures that your energy is not only impactful, but enduring, creating a legacy of influence, confidence, and unstoppable momentum.